All right, we are here with the much awaited interview, the much teased interview with Igor Larionov. I already screwed it up. Larionov, the second. Igor, how are you?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm great. Igor is a hockey player in the KHL. You've taken Twitter by storm with all sorts of great socially conscious tweets, as well as your karaoke videos. Just generally being a cool dude, which is kind of unheard of on social media for hockey players. So why don't you give them a little spiel about who you are?
Yeah, so I'm just a dude who plays hockey professionally in Russia, and yeah, I just like to express myself and talk about some things that I'm passionate in, but also joke around a bit. And hockey is known for being boring and sort of like an old man's club, and trying to change that one tweet at a time.
Yeah, I don't know what the hockey culture in Russia is like. I'm kind of more familiar with the North American, constantly having to prove your masculinity. Yeah. It like serves as, especially in Canada, as a kind of replacement for like why they think they're better than America and like more manly. I know you're kind of like from a hockey family. So like, yeah, like, I mean, like how much do you think is a little bit you, maybe some other outside influences? Like where does this kind of come from for you?
Honestly, in Russia, it's pretty similar to what you're saying about Canada. They think that like the most manly thing you can do is, punch a bear in the face and chop down a tree with your bare hands. But no, they don't really understand that you can be one of the more manly things you can do is just to sit down with a friend and have a conversation and be there for someone. So for me, it's just I have to credit my family for always being there for me and letting me be who I am. Super important, because I feel like a lot of kids, they're not really allowed to be who they truly are. That's sort of like their family pushed them into a certain direction. But for me, that was never the case. I was always allowed to, be who I am and be passionate about what I truly believe in. So it's honestly, I can't really say that I, have an influence from a certain place. It's mostly just, I was just lucky enough to have parents who, are very understanding and also very, I don't want to say woke, but like that's probably the best term of putting it in.
I was laughing pretty hard. I think a couple of days ago you posted something about your dad being like a massive lib and like loving CNN and stuff.
Yeah, he loves NPR. He always listens to the radio. Most kids, when they were driving to hockey practice with their dads, would be listening to like, I don't know, like country music or something. But no, we got like NPR, like the reports and all that, the news. So it was a little bit different for how my childhood was compared to other kids.
We've talked about a lot on our show about just kind of like how there's kind of like this overemphasis on the professional game, and that has an influence like top down, because basically then you're insinuating that like the only reason we're playing sports is to develop children into professional athletes, like create them into instruments of capitalism. You are a professional athlete. You come from these socialization systems. Yeah. Like, I mean, like what kind of driving you maybe to find your place like in that place, and what is that place for you?
About the thing you said about development, I think that there's a right kind of development and a wrong kind of development. Like I think that sports help kids develop discipline. It helps them develop teamwork, a bunch of great life lessons. But when someone uses that, let's say the term development, just about getting better at a sport, especially for kids, I don't think that's correct, because the first and foremost, you play the game as a kid because it's fun. Mm-hmm. And then at a certain point, when you become a little bit more serious, then you can start to focus on development. But when you're a kid, there's the word development, the word win, loss. I don't think they should be even in the picture. It should all be about just having fun, expressing yourself in the sport that you love. Myself, I was always growing up with the mentality of you go out and the ice is a blank sheet of canvas and you're the instrument of art. You basically you paint a picture. And with that, it was always like, it wasn't like I had to go out there, to develop myself or anything like that. It was just to go out to express myself. And those are some of the tools that I have now as a pro, which a lot of guys don't have, because from a young age, they were taught systems or, other things like that. But for me, it was more of just like the classic approach of like pond hockey, drop the puck, have fun, and, play all day long. That's basically where I was my tricks. And even talking to my dad when he was growing up in Russia playing in the Soviet Union, he credits most of his development to, just getting on the lake in the wintertime and just playing shinny, playing just pickup hockey with guys for hours on end. And, those are the moments where there's no coaches, there's no pressure. All you do is just, you focus on having fun. And when you do that, you have a lot more confidence and you try a lot more things that, you might not try. And those are usually the things that separate, the great players from the good players. The great players are able to do those things that not everyone can do. So right now as a pro, I try to continue doing that. When I go out to play, my number one thing is to go out and to put on a show. For me, it's a lot more fun to entertain, because I want to go out and I just want to, do some cool moves. Obviously I want to win the game. Like that's a huge priority in professional sports. Winning games is what it all comes down to. But I think that when you play a certain style, which is a fun, creative, attractive style of play, you can definitely win a lot of games, but also you can make the people in the stands a lot more happy because they get to, witness something special. Sort of like in the 80s, the Lakers, they were known as Showtime. Like a lot more fun to watch a team that's, playing run and gun and having fun than it is to watch a team that's just playing defense all night long. So for me, that's basically how I look at that topic.
There's another really interesting thing that, like, I think people don't realize that there's just like a fun, unregulated version of hockey, similar to pickup basketball, similar to kind of these others, like other sports where you just show up and you play sometimes with strangers, sometimes with friends in a very informal atmosphere. Yeah.
Number one thing, like even in comparing it to soccer, you look at like the most skilled soccer players, a lot of them are Brazilians. And if you look at how the Brazilians, they develop as kids, they play soccer on the beach all day long with, a lot of them don't even have soccer balls. They use like oranges, or I was reading, I forget which soccer player's autobiography, but he was saying how he was playing with oranges when he was a little kid. And then when he got to playing with an actual ball, it was so much easier because the ball was so much bigger. That's like sort of how we would do it. We would, not always have a puck. It might be like a little golf ball that we play with or something like that. So like little things like that when you're a kid, they really make a big difference in terms of both having fun and actually getting a lot better.
Yeah. I'm kind of like thinking right now, I know that there's like a kind of a famous quote from Andre Agassi about being a tennis player, about how like all tennis players like hate tennis or something like that. And I get the impression, like, I don't know how common it is, but that like you would play hockey regardless if you were a professional player. Do you think that that's common, or has kind of like this professionalization and specialization seeped so deeply into the game that people just give up when they're done with their careers, whether that's in high school or whether that's after junior Bs or minors or, whatever?
I feel like a lot of guys, they don't really like the game because they think they deserve a lot more than what they're getting. And a lot of times that's true. A lot of players don't get opportunities. So it's almost like their feelings are hurt by the game. In terms of like myself, even if I wasn't, playing professionally, I would probably still go out once a week just because for me, it's just a lot of fun to, just go out and play pickup or something. Like I think eventually when I'm done playing hockey, I'll still continue skating like once or twice a week and, just having fun on the ice, because that's something that, I feel like as no matter how old you are or how good you are, it's always a blast just to go out and just to play the game that you love. So like, I like to do that with other sports too, not even like hockey. I obviously play professionally, but in the summers I play pickup basketball, pickup soccer, like all these things. And it's just so much fun. So for myself, obviously, if I wasn't a hockey player, I would, definitely continue playing. And I think that's the truth for a lot of players, but there's also a group of people that, they probably do deserve a lot more, but because of that, they're not too happy with the game, and they sort of like, it's sort of like a love-hate relationship where they, don't want to play it because they were, thought they could be playing in the NHL, but they were in the minors for, 10 years. And when they retire, they throw away all their hockey stuff. They disassociate completely with the game.
I think that people talk about, especially hockey, dying because, the physical cost is so high. And I like these guys, I could see them being upset that they've like kind of really, you really give a lot of your body to the game, and to really, you're giving it to people making a lot of money off of you is when it really ends up being. But I think that hockey has it still has the spirit. It has the spirit of the community behind it. So I think we can reform it. I'm not an abolitionist for hockey. I love hockey. So, but before I get you out of here, I did want to just kind of like touch on what kind of causes, you feel like what's your mission out here, and just maybe give you a chance to kind of to share with people like what you're trying to do?
Yeah. So the way I look at it is that as an athlete, I have two options. I have an option to, because obviously as an athlete, you have a platform and you have social media and you have, a certain amount of followers, right? Regardless of what level you play. And I really believe that, you should be using that platform for good instead of just not really using it at all, because a lot of people, they don't really use it at all. And I think that if you have the opportunity to, then you probably should help a certain amount of people. Like I made some tweets about trans rights, about just like little things like that. And I've had so many people reach out and, thank me and say that they feel way more comfortable knowing that there's someone in the hockey community that, looks out for them or that believes in them or that has an open arms for them to, be a fan. And just like little things like that. It truly makes a difference to so many people. So I'm a big believer in, if you can say these things to help these people, then I'm all for it. And I think that as someone who wants to continue growing, I really want to, continue doing that, because the larger platform you get, the more people you can help.
They are little things, but like, I think especially in a space like sports, especially sports fandoms, and especially in hockey, I mean, it really does mean a lot. So it's, yeah, I mean, it is little things, but little things are like what we need to be doing all the time, I guess, I don't know.
like when I was growing up, my dad would always tell me, he would have a kid come up to him asking for an autograph or a picture. And, for my dad, that moment lasts a second, because that happens so often as like a pro athlete. People ask you for pictures all the time. But for that kid, that memory lasts a lifetime. So like me to write a little tweet or something, or if someone asked me yesterday, like, I'm bisexual and like I have a lot of fear about like coming out or something, and I was able to tweet back and say, know that no matter what you decide to do, you're still going to be loved. You're still who you are, and doesn't matter what anyone say, because you're still a good person at the end of the day, as long as you live the right way. And that is just to, treat people with respect, treat people with kindness, and your sexuality shouldn't matter. And I really don't think it'll matter to the people that love you. And they wrote back saying, thank you. Like, you really made a difference to my day. Like, just like stuff like that. Whereas I feel like in hockey, a lot of the times when people like that, they want to be open and express who they truly are, but they're afraid to be rejected or afraid to be, looked at differently. Whereas if like a hockey player can say something like, that's fine. Like, you are who you are, you love who you love, and I'm not going to look at you any differently because I still think you're a good person. That really opens up the door for, people who are oppressed to feel more comfortable, to feel more safe in this environment.
In sports, especially, it's like there is an actual direct threat of violence frequently, like within the bounds of the game itself. And so like, it is I mean, it can be honestly scarier than regular life, because like someone could try and hurt you. We have so much space to grow inside of sports to make sure that that people like that can feel free to join in, because sports fucking rule. Like we're saying, like it's a lifetime thing if you do it right, and you can just get it. So much joy and community from it. So
it's not fair to limit something so great to only a certain amount of people. And if by just, using your platform and having a voice can open that door up to an athlete who's a young kid and maybe, gay or bisexual or anything. And they see that like they have support at that next level, that can be the real change between, trying to accomplish something that they dream of accomplishing, or, saying there's no one that supports me in this industry and giving up. So if using your platform, could do something like that, just even one person, I think that's a win in my book.
Well, where can people find you if they haven't found you? Where can they find your stuff?
So my Instagram and my TikTok are Igor Larionov _LL for the Roman numerals. And my Twitter is Igor _Larionov LL, also for the Roman numerals. And on any of my socials, you can click onto my link tree and find all of my other social media. You can find my merch there. You can also find some causes that I'm passionate about, and you can learn about it and donate to them. Because I feel like a lot of, people that hate, just portray hate in the world, they don't do it because they're bad people. They do it because of lack of knowledge. And I have some great links where people can actually read about that, and hopefully it can change their opinions on these topics, because, at the end of the day, love should always outweigh hate.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and sharing, and I'm glad that we could be part of your legend as it grows.
Thank you.
As you be the posting forward. Thanks a bunch, Igor.
Thank you.